There we go. I had a joke. I'm like, wait, no.
Well, are you a dungeon master that needs to work out what to do? Do you not know what to do at all? Do you need Venger Satanis to help? Well, you're just in luck. Advanced game mastering like an effing boss. I need like explosions and shit to go off behind me, but like I don't know.
Bang.
So I've got this one up before. This is actually a new one. He only brought this one out at the start of the year, I think. So he did have one, and his old one, and sold very well. It actually, I think it went platinum, so it did. So he sold over 1,000 copies on drive-thru of the old one, and a section in it does say about why you need to wash yourself if you want to be a good DM. And you know what? A lot of people laugh at that, but I think that's actually important. What do you think, Garber? Do you think washing yourself is an important aspect of being
You should
a good
always
DM?
wash your dick and ass, for God's sakes. Like, if you're a guy, you have 2 red zones: your balls and your ass. Just wash the thing with fucking water and soap. You can ignore everything else. Just wash your dick and your ass. I beg you. Fuck.
You know what it feels like? It feels like what's that? There was a good meme, and it's like parents telling the kids like, "Oh, you need to like clean up your room." It's like, "Oh God damn it, mom!" And then it's like Jordan Peterson. It's like, "Clean up your room, bucko." It's like, "Oh my God, what a fucking genius!"
Oh yeah.
I love that one. But like, this isn't really a book review. We're just kind of like diving into this. We'll go over a few segments, see what it's all about, see what's in here. Maybe you guys will find it interesting. I think it'll be interesting. Venger actually did ask us to talk about this a long time ago, and I never got into it. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And he sent me a ton of his other books, but I like his stuff anyway. I will probably link to his other stuff, his Chult series, which I actually really enjoy, and I know he's doing another Kickstarter early next year, which I am really looking forward to, if I'll be honest with you. But like, let's get into this. What do we have down here?
What do we have? That's called the contents of stuff.
Oh, okay. It's powerful. That's what it is. What's this? You want to go for it?
All right. It's powerful. That's why it's dangerous. Real conversation I had with one of my daughters. Trinity, how do you know? BS. God told me. God doesn't speak. I've never heard him say anything. I have. He talks to me. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. God is a secret language. Chalt. Do you have purpose? Okay, so, do you have purpose? I don't know if every man has a purpose or not. I'm not every man. I'm me. One man. Just one. I'm only sure of what I am, what I know, and what I can do. Hell, for all I know, the rest of you could just be figments of my imagination. Still in my 40s for the time being, I've known for some time that role-playing games are part of my purpose. My passion for RPGs, writing, designing, playing, and especially game mastering has led me to the door, and when it was my time to walk through it, I did. RPGs can be more than just fun and games, escapism, and friends. It's not a religion, but I do feel spiritually fulfilled by involving myself in the hobby. I take my role as game master and all the rest very seriously. It's easily mockable and ridiculous from a certain point of view, but I take such mocking and ridicule easier by the day because of the secret power I have. It's been about 10 years since I wrote and self-published. Yeah, I know. God and enemy on my side.
Yeah.
It's been about 10 years.
We have our blue part.
Yeah.
You laugh about it, but hey.
I have God and enemy on my side. Cringe! Anyway. It's been about 10 years since I wrote and self-published How to Game Master Like a Fucking Boss. In that decade, I game mastered like a son of a bitch, drawing dungeons, stat-blocking monsters, dreaming up weird magic items, constructing random tables for NPCs, the usual. But I've also been doing more outside the pentagram, thinking and planning and working. The results have been beyond phenomenal. Now you get to reap the rewards. Love what you do and your love for the game will show through. Let that be your guiding light. If you find that you're not loving the hobby or your role within it, maybe you need to change perspectives. Yes, we can have more than one of your role in the game. Game masters are priceless, but players are valuable, yeah, by pennies, I suppose, as well.
I don't know.
Dime a dozen, you players, a dime a dozen.
No, but it is hard to find good players, though. Like, you can find players, you can find players anywhere, but good players, on the other hand, is a different story altogether.
I could turn over a log and find a snake, a beetle, and 72,000 players.
All right, fair.
Are you going about things the right way? Could your paradigm use a shift. As you'll soon see, the proper mindset is a crucial piece of the puzzle that can't be faked. If missing, everyone will notice its absence. Fortunately, mindsets are easily created or changed, assuming one is open to the experience. At the end of the day, this is supposed to be fun. For me, it's fun to explore what's underneath the surface, plumbing hidden depths, creating with purpose, and using that purpose to fulfill a destiny greater than myself. I control a lot of what's going on, but those moments where the game is out of my control are lost in time, like tears in rain. And the story takes shape seemingly of its own accord, happened to be my favorite. Enjoy Vinger Asna Satanus, High Priest of Corthalis Publishing.
Yeah, so there you go. That's his intro. What do you think about that? I thought that was an interesting point, bringing up with it being spiritual within
TLDR.
I think it's an interesting point, but ultimately, look, let's keep going. Let's dive into this. Okay, let's go with this one.
Okay.
Let's see. Spark of Life.
The Spark of Life. I was watching a video of Jordan Peterson defend himself against a feminist interviewer who condemned him for being a man. Basically, it is Christianity, its teachings, symbols, and themes in his work. The misandry of our culture is off the charts. I'm sure there are a dozen such videos online because I've seen more than one, and I don't go out of my way to watch this stuff. Merely appreciate the hell out of it when it's in front of me. Anyway, I'm watching them. Peterson states how impossibly and improbable it is that thousands of years ago was written that men and women were reflections of God, made in his image, each of us carrying a spark of divinity. Those circumstances have led to the freedom we have today. Our rights aren't given to us by the state or any leader, political or royal, but by God, and God-given rights cannot be taken away by anyone or anything. I make the claim that not only are the worlds we create via role-playing games inherently divine by association, but every player character, every non-player character, and pretty much everything we breathe life into is a reflection of God. If the signal is pure enough, a copy of a copy is still good enough for government work.
I mean, I get where he's going with it, but I don't know if I would think that.
See, I believe it's more of a reflection of yourself than of God.
Well, again, but you can make the argument of, but you're born in God's image, therefore you're a reflection of God yourself, and anything you create is a reflection.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Which God?
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't really want to get into any philosophical debates or any of this sort of stuff.
Actually, Neckbeardia puts on my atheist fedora.
Yeah, okay. Pretty much.
So,
right.
I believe when you make a character, you are God yourself, creating something in your own image. But anyway, so I make the claim that not only are the worlds we create, yada yada, in Gnosticism, the divine spark is the portion of God that resides within every human being. Are we to keep this inner light in a box or velvet bag, not experiencing all that life has to offer, or should we make use of our evolved faculties or a higher consciousness, given life to other worlds, and adventure while we can before we have to pick up our kids, go to work in the morning, study for finals, or catch a movie with the person we're dating, or keep writing your own RPG book into the night and having your wife yell at you.
It's coming out of me, all right? I'm in the zone, okay? See what I mean?
Babe, I'm in the zone!
You wouldn't get it.
Life is worth living because we fill it full of worthwhile things and people and events, sights and sounds and stories. Experiencing what life would be like in the open plains in a cargo ship heading to New Theodos in a wizard's dank dungeon. Shadow Wizard Money Gang in the dankest dungeon. or a private library curated by some sinister cultist who wouldn't want to give any of those a try, even for only a few hours. Role-playing games are better than Westworld, that cowboy theme park from the 70s, because that world's events are determined or managed by machines. The Game Master fills everything with life, replicated from his own life force, reflecting his spark of divinity into that of his creations. If a Westworld gunfighter wearing a 10-gallon hat wins a high noon pistol duel, that's because it was programmed that way by machines, assuming a 1 in a million accident it doesn't occur. If the same event happens in RPG, you don't know exactly which way things will turn out, just like real life. That uncertainty must also be divine, or at least larger than ourselves, universal. That God-given free will somehow reacts with unknowledgeable outcomes in order to create life itself. As I said, that sort of thing doesn't happen in a video game or a theme park full of robots or choose-your-own-adventure novel. Role-playing games alone are a vehicle for our divine spark. Shouldn't we make the most of it?
I think that's a really good point, Doc. I think he's onto something there. It's just not the way I would.
It's a bit flowery,
I would-
but I get where he's going.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not the way I would explain it, but I think this brings up a really good argument over the whole like AI DM thing that I think we're definitely going to be seeing in the very near future. The reason why we're going to be seeing it in the near future is because there's a guy I'm working with to make I'm going to call it like a companion app per se, but he is plugging in a ton of AI stuff into this, which I think is really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how he pulls it all together. But it is, you know what, we are on like the precipice of the AI, not the AI takeover per se, but the AI being more and more integrated into day-to-day life, which is kind of spooky. I didn't think it was going to come out like this. You know, I really didn't think I would be asking AI to improve my spelling anytime soon, because, like, honestly, see if I'm writing something out, I'm like, does that look good? Is that good? I just put it into, like, ChatGPT or whatever and just be like, spelling, grammar, is there any other descriptive words I can add to this? You know, is there any way I can improve this? And then, like, you know, you kind of, like, make a hybrid from that result. You know what I mean? So you could argue, is James already an android? Maybe. Who knows? Are you an Android, Garbico? Not yet.
If I am, I'm a fucking poorly built one, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, quality. Oh, here, this might be interesting. What do you think a GM's best quality is?
Patience.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you might have me there. I can't think of a better one than patience. If I'd be honest with you, I think more like force of personality and just the ability, like just wrangling cats. Maybe being a good shepherd. How does that sound? We'll put it nice. Instead of wrangling cats, it's guiding in the right way. How does that sound? Or no, James, that's real looted.
Well, thing is, there's going to be so many different opinions on what makes Jim's best quality that you're not going to find a single one. Like, I'm pretty sure he's going to say a bunch of stuff in here that's going to be like, you know, motivational, but everyone's favorite quality or their quote-unquote, their idea of the best GM quality is going to be changed from person to person, I guarantee. Some of, we gotta be a good storyteller. Oh, he's gotta explain things. Oh, he's gotta have a good voice, or he's gotta have funny voices. Like, there's gonna be tons of different opinions on what makes a good DM.
Yeah, I think adaptability. I'm gonna go with adaptability is the key to DMing. Because you don't know what your players are gonna throw at you, and it's on you to try and keep it cohesive within reason and being able to be like that works, yeah, that's fine. Or like, no, don't be ridiculous. That could never possibly happen. It's like, but trust me, guys, I got a nat 20. I can break the laws of physics. Don't question it, okay? You know? Look, let's see. What does Venture have to say for himself on the best quality?
I've seen blog posts, online articles, and Twitter polls on what makes a GM great. What's the most valuable trait or nugget of wisdom? You can imagine the usual answers, and I've talked about them myself over the years. Stuff like being open-minded and flexible, spontaneous, and ready for improvisation, generous and welcoming, etc. Not long ago, I came to a realization. All those things were valuable, sure, but they weren't at the top. They weren't the pinnacle of game mastering. My answer was different than everybody else's, which either means I've gone off the deep end crazy or that I'm onto something hidden from view outside of the uninitiated's awareness. Esoteric. The best quality of a game master is this: the ability to immerse yourself in the paradigm. That means becoming one with the campaign setting on a spiritual or metaphysical level. Jesus. Treat your made-up universe as if it were real. Only then will you respond appropriately. Just like real life, we joke around and have fun, but we still take it seriously. Our actions have weight and reach and consequences. Lives are at stake. Not our lives, thank God, but the lives of these characters. Trillions. See, I remember I talked about earlier, you know, treating it like an actual life.
Yeah.
Who conquer triumphantly just like ourselves. The forces of good and evil, light and darkness, law and chaos that influence events. Well, that's a mirror held up to our own world. This belief that psychic investment in the world you've created or creating you're creating even now without get your hand on your fucking fly there, bud.
All right.
Realizing it by taking up the GM mantle, that other world or simulated reality program is still running in the background of your unconscious mind when you're thinking about grabbing lunch or doing your taxes. It's the ability.
I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry. This is starting to sound like Chris Chan, Sonic Chi, and the Dimensional Merge, and what is C9, ED9, or whatever the fuck you call
Christine
it.
Candler Christ.
Yeah, I get it. No, don't get me wrong. I do get it. I just, yeah, okay, a cohesive world. You can't argue. Yeah, you need that. I still think adaptability is better, though. And what do you think, Arbu? Or do you want to finish this off before we go any further?
Well, I kind of get where he's going, and this is the.
I get it.
This is how you get consumed by your own world, and you get so fucking full of yourself that like you become Christian. Like,
yeah,
it's very Christian-esque.
Yeah, it kind of is. Now, don't get me wrong. I really enjoy Chult. I think it's honestly, it's a really fun setting. It just is. It's great. It's so wacky and stupid and over the top. I love it, but it's definitely not something for everyone. You know what I mean? Let's keep going, will we? Or do you want to lead more in this?
Well, I can see where he's going with this, and it's just more or less involving yourself in the game and making the game yourself. That's more or less what I was going to go in here. I already can't tell how that plot line's going to go. No offense to fucking...
okay.
No offense to him.
Sorry, Venture. Sorry. Everything is an opportunity. That is true. Actually, this might be good. Everything's an opportunity.
1 second here.
All right.
Hold on. I'm being flirtatious via text with the wife. I am laying the foundation for a great night. At the end of the day, it's without thinking before doing. That's just one of the things separating us from the animals. We don't need to just do stuff automatically out of convenience. Sometimes the path of least resistance isn't the best option. As human beings, we can consider the possibilities and evaluate which might be better or worse, depending on the circumstances and intentions. The basic unit of measurement in role-playing games is encounters. Like subatomic particles, there are bits and pieces even smaller than encounters, which we'll call moments, which I do agree with. Moments,
yeah,
and
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so moments in time.
It's pure like tears in the lane.
Moments, and I didn't come up with that term, encompasses everything too small to be an encounter. Usually a full-fledged encounter has something behind it, a deeper conflict, waving a red flag, neon sign, or hiding just beneath the surface. If something happens in the session that's not big or important enough to be called an encounter, then chances are it was a moment. A bit of dialogue, a character spouting off, someone skipping a stone across a fjord, coming across strange markings, a nude woman crossing the path in front of them, then disappearing. That sounds like me on a fucking Friday. If what's happening is just the beginning of something and there's more to it, it's an encounter. If something happens and it's just an isolated event, it's not part of something greater, then it's just a moment, or perhaps a series of moments. Now that we've defined our terms, let's forget all about them. LOL. Regardless if it's an encounter, don't type LOL. Fuck, come on, bud.
Look, leave Venger be.
Venger.
Venger. He admits he's in his 40s. It's okay. It's okay.
So basically, he's talking about how how you know, paradigmatic aspects, you know, the other moments, sexual stuff, you know. Hold on. It's also
they all up together. I get that. Yeah, I think that is important, and I think a lot of people do skip over it. I think I think he's got a very solid point here. I would agree with him on this.
Okay, so basically, you know, he's talking about how the small things, or so what he calls moments, I always call it the small things, or the chance things, the small things that help make a campaign feel real, even just for those few scant seconds. Like a character's like a character's in character and out of character burst of anger, or a true connection made in the game, you know, that kind of stuff, or a player saying, you know what, I just want to do this. Like when a player just wants to go fishing, like, hey, you know what, I just want to go fishing. Those small things. Now, the lowly sex circus is not a small thing. That's definitely a fucking encounter. For sure. That's an encounter and a half. Not gonna lie, but again, like, you know, like, I suppose everything. You know what it is? You're dividing up from hours to minutes to seconds. Is that a good way to describe it? Like, you know, a session is a day. An encounter is an hour. You know, a moment is a minute. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's kind of what getting thrown at you. Demoralized. Mm-hmm.
You eat the bugs. You won't even the pods. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of demoralized sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Don't.
You want to agree with that?
Yeah, sure. Things will happen that fly in the face of rationality, logic, courtesy, and sound judgment. You do your best, try your hardest, go in with eyes open and with all due righteousness, and yet the forces aligned against you will occasionally get through. They will do their best to destroy you. Like any calling, religious or secular, your faith will be tested. I could lie and say that you'll be ready, that it'll be easy to rise above and take on what's coming down the pike. If it's a true test, you may not pass. Failure is always an option, unfortunately. You could be stuck in a rut, believe that you're a victim, or decide there's no way out. You might be burdened with terrible purpose, or feel the unbearable psychic weight knowing that you are the architect of your own demise. But I can tell you that this hopeful news, we're not going to give up. Even if our ship crashes upon the rocks, even when we are broken upon the wheel that turns in darkness, we continue. Fight until you die. You may not need to take a breath for your mental health. You'll see, you may need to take a breath for your mental health, that's fine, but eventually you must step into the ring again and again, sometimes taking defeats as well as victory. Everybody...
I mean, like...
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like, who's the Greek that pushes the boulder up the hill for all eternity?
Sisyphus.
Yeah, look, I think that's more just an outlook on life that rather than Is this a self-help book? Avenger, you gotta be honest with us. Did you make 12
Thinly veiled self-help book? Yeah.
Yeah. Is this what you're up to? You can't lie to me now. I know you're watching. Don't lie to me now. What do you think, Garbu? Is this a self-help book? I mean, it kind of is.
Technically, all things could be a self-help book, really.
Yeah, I suppose.
Nothing is immune from becoming a self-help book.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Will we keep going, or do you want to dive more into that one?
So, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Everybody suffers. That's the way of things. Through that suffering, God willing, we come out the other side stronger and wiser. Depression happens, black moods, wallowing in self-pity, disconnected from reality. If you hang on long enough, some things will get better all on their own. For everything else, work at it. You won't be able to fix it all, but several things should go right. Perhaps knowing that all of this was foretold is some kind of solace. Maybe it'll give you some peace of mind. When you look across the table, you won't always know if other people are having a hard time, a bad day, or they're at the end of their rope. Regardless, do your best for them, for yourself in the game. Those little holograms living in their simulated universe, they need you too. Without someone to run the game, it's like they cease to exist. Without a game master, there's only silence, darkness, and nothing. This is philosophy.
Yeah, it kind of is giving me that vibe.
This it's sort of a self-help that's not very much towards philosophy of where without you there is no story, there's only darkness, there's only the unknown, there's only the quiet. So it's like he's trying to say the DM sparks life into being. He kicks that wheel to start turning and make the projector turn on again with light.
Oh yeah, like what's the difference between a DM and what's the Jewish one about the golem where they breathe life into the golem? I can't remember the name of the story, but it's very, very similar. And you know what? I get that, but you could argue that's artwork. Any form of art does that. Anything that changes, if you interact with something and it changes the way you perceive the world around you, then I would argue that that's art. And I would argue that yes, role-playing games can be art. They aren't usually. It's kind of like video games. Most of the time, video games are not art, but they can be on occasion.
Mm-hmm. I just finished Slay the Princess last night. Pretty good little story.
What is it? Is it a book or what? Or?
It's an audio game or an audiovisual game.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a book that moves. All right, let's be fair here.
All right. Well, you know what? I went ahead. I canceled all my channels because I had like Curiosity Stream and History Channel and stuff on Prime, and I cancelled them all to get because I don't really use it anyway. But I cancelled them all to get Audible. And I just don't have time to read books. I haven't had time to read books ever since Ozzy was born. And I really want to get back into it. And I really want to read Necromancer. I'll throw it up on screen. It's an old cyberpunk book, but I've been meaning to read it for a very long time. And I just never had the chance. Never go full Gonzo. Here, that sounds good. Never go full retard. Okay, what would your view on Never Go Full Retard? I think you can.
I mean, you can let the veil slip sometimes. Let the full retard mask fall down for a minute or two, but don't make it like you're like you don't make it you know.
Yeah, that's true. But again, the thing is, when okay, this has got me all philosophical now. But let's be serious. Let's use the Veil Riders for example. It's very Garbu, the Veil Riders, but guess what? Garbu made it. You know what I mean?
Shocking.
Yeah, but you can see. I can see for myself whenever you write something down and it doesn't have your name. I just know it's you though. Does that make sense?
I mean.
I'm able to just tell it's you because it's just the way you write, or it's just like a part of you is in that writing that I can just recognize very easily. You know?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, right. Well, anyway, look, never go full Gonzo. What's this all about? If any of you guys want full Gonzo,
Okay. Given enough thought, anyone can come up with their own definition of Gonzo. My own interpretation of Gonzo goes a little something like this. It's the freedom to slip into surrealism any goddamn time I want to. Personally, I use straightforward and dumbed down definition of surrealism, super real. Now, what do I mean by that? We all know what real is, or think we do. So, what's super realism? The super real is the super real is that which is ordinary and then somehow modified, transposed, tweaked, and nudged, channeled, funneled, manufactured, dyed, or exploited, sifting and winnowing to get at whatever greater truth lurks in the shadowy underbelly of dragons that sleep under the mountains as symbols and metaphor, the deep merge of art and life, subjective and objective, blurring the lines until we don't even know where we are anymore. Gonzo is reality gone weird. Essentially, that's all it is. The funny thing about weirdness is that the weird becomes a commonplace after a while. That's actually why it's not at all impossible to run a long-term Gonzo campaign. The human mind adapts relatively quickly, so quickly in fact that new weirdness must be shipped in from far-flung corners of the cosmos to keep this realism going. A little bit every now and then is probably the perfect amount. All things in moderation, including moderation itself, which means that occasionally the weirdness should go all out to the max. Only then will you have freed yourself from the crippling stagnation of normal, ordinary, everyday life. And that's also ironic because weirdness requires the normal, the ordinary, and the everyday, which is why I go to anime cons. Because that's my Gonzo shit right there. Anime cons.
all right. Is that the one that does it for you? Is that the way you can let the mask slip? I was talking to one of my friends. He's away in Japan at the minute, and him and this other guy, they go to Japan like every year. I think they go like at least 2 times a year, so they do. And I was talking to them, and they said it was really funny because like I can't remember how we were talking about it, but we brought up like, you know, see whenever you're trying to do something and then people just get like angry at you. It's like, for instance, like they were telling someone in work, oh yeah, watch out, we're going to Japan, and they're asked why are you going to Japan? It's like, it's none of your fucking business. I just want to go to Japan, all right?
None of your fucking business, cunt.
Well, first of all, I'm a fucking weeb, so I'm going to go to Japan. Why are you so aggy about it? Like, have you ever got this, Scorpio? Have you ever came across someone that actually gets like angry at you for doing something?
All the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's man. Like, I don't know. It's just fucking get over yourself. This happens all the time for me. Like, you know, you go to do something and then someone's like, oh, why are you doing that? It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not a fucking normie, okay? I'm sorry. That's what it feels like anyway.
Fucking... like be with the guys. I think I'm going to arrange Thursday. Why? Because I want to go. Yeah, but why do you want to go do that for? You could do anything else. You could like go read a book. Yeah, but I want to shoot gun. That's why. Like constantly like
just
that.
Let me do.
How about you? I don't know. Mind your own fucking business. How's that sound? Like
yeah. It's the only way you can do it, though. I think a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But no, I get what he means. Like, you know, like different worlds can react differently. Now, Schultz is really fucking weird, guys. If you don't know anything about it, he throws in like every like pop reference you can think of from like the 80s upwards, and he throws in like stuff that's been in the news and like, what do you call the fruities? You know them? You know the Christian channel?
Oh
have,
yeah.
Yeah, he has them in, and there's like loads of other stuff. So like, you know, whenever he's talking weird, his stuff's really fucking weird. But again, like, you know, it kind of makes sense. Like Garbu, the stuff that works in your setting, that is just like the foundations of your universe. You know what I mean? I think that's really what he's getting at. It's just like the foundations of the universe is consistent, even if it's weird and unusual. It still continues on. So does that make sense? Like it makes sense within within itself. If it's in a vacuum, I don't know. Maybe. Let's don't
create in a vacuum. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do this one?
Yeah, it's actually quite important for a lot of people. Don't create in a vacuum. So I can only guess what he's going to be writing here, but I was on the fence about this essay's title. I almost called it Middle Period Missteps because of the middle of my current careers. I did make a few missteps. The biggest was creating in a vacuum. I was high on my own supply of imagination, the raw power of creation at my fingertips. I decided to just go off on my own and write things without a concrete foundation. Instead of constructing gameable content from a place of security, I built on scenarios upon sand, and it showed. What I should have done was cling to the bedrock just below my influences. Dark sword and sorcery stories, strange and eternal, the kind of stuff you'd find in an old pulp paperback like the one in Mandy or Secrets of Serpent's Eye. Even if you're not looking for inspiration, I strongly encourage you to look at your own roots. What'd you just do?
I don't know. It fucking shit itself there.
The genre's core, the deepest appreciation for bloodthirsty adventure, dreamlike horror, misanthropic rogues and underskull and crossbones. But no, I stupidly released my grasp on the ancient lore and started writing generic fantasy, or fantasy with the right vibe, but was either untethered to the good stuff or just didn't go anywhere special. The further we stray from the source material, the less potent our creations become. Now, I'm not saying don't branch out. Exploring other avenues and trying new things is a necessary part of the creative process, and at a certain point you may find that your work has lost a certain purpose or aesthetic or connection to whatever it is that speaks to you, that grabs hold and shakes something loose. That profound artistry is the well to which you must return. Keep evolving as a writer, artist, and game master, but stay hardcore. Don't lose your edge. Don't forget what's best in life, and don't create in a vacuum. We stand upon the shoulders of giants, great old ones, for a reason. Not because we are enslaved by our influences, rather they allow us to reach the endless night's soft black stars. Before sitting down to write, I suggest either immersing yourself in stories saturated in the kind of stuff you absolutely love. Remind yourself while you're doing this that's what it's all about. Come up with a few words or phrases that keep you on track. There are specifics. What's it say? Oh, such as, by his loathsome tentacles, or silk-clad women splayed upon hell's altar, or junkyard esotericism. However, general categories can work just as well. Eldritch, Gonzo, science fantasy, and post-apocalypse. For me, it's reading H.P. Lovecraft, Thomas Ligotti, Robert E. Howard, Clark Ashton Smith, Roger Zelazny, and the like. Watching Thundar the Barbarian, Land of the Lost, Blake 7, Doctor Who, Heavy Metal, Chef Kiss, Flash Gordon, Sergio Leone's Dollar Trilogy, Star Wars, The Godfather, Lost, Hellraiser, Beastmaster, Terminator, Excalibur, Conan the Barbarian, the movies of the John Carpenter, and so many others. Go back to your favorite artwork, poetry, music, comic books, video games, modules, and whatever cultural nodes return you to the source code, where primordial awesomeness bubbles and seethes in darkness and beyond darkness. If you've lost your way, don't beat yourself up to the point where you're stuck wallowing in defeat or rage quit that which you've been called to do. Realize you fucked up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and get back to the basics. Once you've done that, go out and seek other stories, other media that will keep you on track, keep you grounded. Need suggestions? The internet is filled with people who love what you love and will help you find more of it. Just ask them. So with me, actually, I go out into the environment.
Gate, it's Garbo, it's Gate. We all know it's Gate.
No, it's not Gate. I go out and so a lot of guys, they'll read, I go out to the source material. I walk along army bases. I go out camping alone. I go to gun ranges. I go and buy things. It's the sounds that remind me what it is. Like the sound, my favorite sound in feeling is the feeling of a hot cup in one hand, full of apple cider or coffee, and then slowly feeding sticks and twigs into a fire as snow falls down around you. My top one, like emotional feel.
Yeah.
Like being alone in the woods and you know, when you're alone in the woods with a little fire in front of you and a little lean-to tent, nothing else matters. Deadlines, your phone charge, gas, fuel, bills. The only thing that matters is staying warm and feeding sticks into the fire. Those two little things, keeping yourself fed. Hey, you're out of wood. You go get more wood. It's the small things. Going out to the range. Nothing else matters. It's just you and a gun and the function and the simple steps you take to put a little tiny hole in the red. It's those things are what kind of get me back on focus. Like with him, it seems to be pop media culture and movies. Yeah. With me, it's re-engaging and re-feeling the feelings you try and put in your book. What do you do?
I don't know. Honestly,
you don't know?
I don't know. My time's taken up by Aussie. If I be honest with you, I don't get much time to myself. If I be honest with you, at all. It's a hard one. But I think so many stuff has changed so much for me over the last lot of years. You know, it kind of goes in and out. You know, of what is your focus and all that sort of stuff. It changes for me. I don't think I have a definitive one. I think, like, you know, honestly, I suppose Aussie maybe. But I think that's a bitch boy answer, isn't it? That feels like a cheap answer to the question. You know, not quite sure.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know if I'd have a good one to respond with. You know what I mean? I suppose I always do. The only other one, or the only other one is I do love a good wee drink, sitting talking shit to people. That's always that'll always get you back.
That is a hard reset. Like imagine like you're in your pub. You're down wherever you are, and again if you use it as a baseline for your writing or your mental status, you can probably close your eyes right now, James, and think of the smells of the pub, the sounds of the pub, the feeling of that squeaky fucking boot seat on your ass cheek, the feeling of like cold glass handles on your hand, just the overall murmur and chatter of people. Like those are the things I go out and find. Like me, if I want to reset, I need to reset now. I'll go to a coffee shop. Because there are key sounds to a coffee shop. The hiss of of a steamer wand, people chattering, the clink of knives on forks, the sound of a coffee cup leaving a tabletop. There are things like that. Like for him, it's pop culture. For me, it's sounds and feelings it's sounds and feelings in these nondescript, nonverbal emotions around you. That's what I get locked into. But everyone's different,
My one makes me sound like a fucking alcoholic. Maybe a small touch. Let's keep going. What do you think? Are you starting to feel this book? Do you think there's something to it now?
It's a self-help book, yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like a self-help book.
It seems like a book to bring a failing DM off from the brink,
Yeah.
Like if you're a DM who's at your wits end, like I hate doing this. It's not fun anymore. It's where you grab this book and Victor goes, now, let's reset the one. In a way. Yeah,
I think I would agree with that.
I actually want to say, more or less, DMs are a different breed.
Yes, they definitely are.
People say like, "Hey, everyone can be a DM." Actually, no, not everyone can be a DM, let alone a good DM. And there's a lot of pressure on DMs to do stuff. So if you're a true game master or combat controller or dungeon master, you're going to come to a point where you won't be having fun anymore. You're 10 years in on it, and you're like, man, what is going on with me? This kind of book here will jerk your head out of your ass and remind you what it is to be what you are. It's like, it's in the same vein as not everyone can be a soldier, not everyone can be a surgeon or work in a hospital. Not everyone can be a DM. Mind you, it's very low in the totem pole of danger, but but it's still a universal truth. Not everyone can be everything.
But what happens if I become a DM and someone writes a mean story about me on RPG Horror Stories? What then, Garbo? What will I ever do? How will I recover? They said I was racist online. I was racist online! No! I suppose that'll lead us into take no offense. Will we go with this one?
So take no offense. We live in a culture that rewards and incentivizes victimhood. It's not that.
Yeah, can't argue there.
Yeah, D&D 5e. Yeah. Why work if money is handed to you? Why take responsibility if society and the media, politicians, celebrities, and influencers keep reminding you that you're perfect just the way you are, and if you're not happy, then it's society that needs fixing. If you're offended by something that you could not just watch, turn off, mute, block, or scroll on by, your offendedness gets recognition. You get attention, praise, and pity. Friends and acquaintances and people you don't even know go out of their way to make you feel better, asking if you're okay, if you need anything. How can we help you to overcome your sad lot in life, your victimhood? It's no surprise that the social currency of being offended would affect the RPG hobby. Broasaur. Being offended by something that's normal or not intentionally offensive is, more often than not, a passive-aggressive power grab that reeks of weakness, desperation, and herd mentality. These days, we're just passing peak offendedness. People are offended by the dumbest things imaginable, and then it will continue until it's called out. We put a stop to it. I refuse to cuddle those offended by my words and actions. Is it weird that I'm not offended by anything, really?
I you know what? I'm past the point of, like, see, when it comes to, like, getting offended, it's like, what's the point? Like, it feels like such a pointless... It feels like such a pointless exercise in human emotion. Does that make sense? Especially at this point. Like, I would never get offended over anything, like, in my real life. Or at least I've never came across anything that would has offended me in my real life. But, like, especially when it comes to, like, stuff online. Well, you know what? X cards do offend me, but that's, like, I'm not getting into that. Honestly, at this point, I just feel like, yeah, okay, very funny, you know? know, what else do I have to say about the matter? You know, if there's always the point of, you can always close your internet browser. Like, for instance, a good example is like there's the current thing that's going on in the Middle East. Right, and I'm not really going to get into it, but there's a lot of like videos circulating at the minute, and they're videos that I don't really want to look at. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of kids, and I don't like looking at them. So what do? I just don't open it. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, okay.
See,
I wouldn't call it offended, but it does give
unsettled.
me
it's unsettled.
It gives me an emotional response. I wouldn't call it offended though, but I'm just not gonna look at it. Does that make sense?
So people are choosing to be offended.
Yeah.
No one told you to open up that fucking Live Leak video. No one told you to go on a gun lover's blog and get offended that they like guns. Yeah. People are choosing and desiring to be offended just to, I don't know, feel something. It's pretty
like they want to, you know what it is? They want to change the world. They want to try and, oh, look at us, we're so virtuous. We have made the world a better place. But again, it's you know what it feels like an awful lot of the time, especially with the people that do this sort of thing. I think Game of Thrones actually did. It's one of the few times Game of Thrones did an amazing job. I always love to use the Daenerys whenever she went to the pyramid city, Marine, was it?
Oh, Marine.
And she freed all the slaves, and it turned out, oh, the slaves actually don't want to have freedom. They like things the way it was, and it's interesting that, like, when you think about it. But I suppose we're trying to shove our modern day Western values on people that's just alien to. It'd be like the alien showing up.
See, I wouldn't even call it Western values. It's more of just like, when you think about, it's one thing. Like, most Western values is just like, in the Midwest, no one here actually gives a fuck. Like, I think there are two branches of Western values now. There's the normal values, and then like these terminally online liberal values. Really,
I wouldn't consider them. I wouldn't call them connected to Western values, though. Well, they kind of are, but like Western values are the only way I would describe it is like, whether we like it or not, Christianity is the backbone of Western civilizational values. You know what I mean? It's like it is.
Those are the same guys who get offended seeing two guys kiss, for God's sakes.
Like, I know. Again, it's one of those ones. It's such a. I don't know. Look, let's keep going. What do you want to do?
You open this bag up. This world was founded by Christians, sure. And what they say, the pursuit of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Yeah, when someone pursues their happiness, it's a fucking offensive all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the problem with. I think that's the biggest. It's one of the greatest things and one of the worst things about Christianity. So if you look at any other like major religion, one that actually matters, they don't really let you criticize them in any way, shape, or form, and they don't really let you bleak out. And it's definitely where these religions are strong. You're just not allowed. You're just not allowed, and that's what I think gives Christianity its real strength, is its empathetic ability, but it's also its greatest weakness at the same time. Does that make sense? The ability to criticize it is great, but it's also made it incredibly weak at the same time. The problem is, I'm at the point where I don't really think people need Jesus in their lives, but I think there's a lot of people that do, because you end up with like gay furries that die of AIDS. You get gay diaper furries that get AIDS. And that's where we're at. I don't think everyone needs that, but I think we've hit a point where it's like, I think more and more people should. Maybe you do need a bit of Jesus in your life.
People should just understand the base coding behind the human being. I get that the Bible makes it a lot easier for you, sure. Like it's like basically like here's how it works, dummy. I mean, there's the Bible, there's the Havamal, there's all these ways to know how to treat people. But there's a base code that's in all of humanity. Just that, that little tricky thing called empathy that you can use with other people.
Yeah.
Like people know off the bat. Like you don't need a Bible to tell you, hey, you probably shouldn't kick that dog in the fucking face who's just trying to wag his tail at you. Like, but people are forgetting their. See, the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that people are forgetting their humanity, man. They're forgetting their humanity and they're leaving it behind.
There's a lot of religions that are very okay with you kicking dogs in the face. Just putting that out there.
Well, still, that's why it's not about religion, but it's about knowing your own human empathy, moral code that we're all born with. Like, people know when like people feel guilt. At least they should if they do something bad. Like, unless you're fucking hello, dog. Unless you're like fucking a sociopath or a psychopath, you're like, well, I just pushed over that baby, now they're crying, now I feel bad, or that dog was wagging at me, and now it's just like, and I fucking called it gay and it cried, and I feel it bad. There's basically, and now thing is though, is that this may be a can of racial worms, but if you notice how like some races have a better code than others, China.
Well, yeah, that's a good example. I would agree with you on that. And again, I think that goes back to. Oh, I don't know, man. This might be go. No, you know what? I'm not going to go into it. I know. We're going too far. Yeah, we are going too far, and we're going to get it. Like it's going to be condemned as hate speech. All right, that's all I'm going to say. It is going to get condemned as hate speech. I think because it will. Finally it will. Honestly, we're at a weird crossroads in our cultural timeline, and if we look at it like this, look at the internet, the modern internet, as like the printing press, and you look like Garby, you remember what the internet was like before like iPhones and normies were online?
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't it? It was really good. And do you think you could argue the same where maybe normies should not have access to the Word of God? Could you see maybe a Reformations, something very similar? Maybe you could also argue, no, you are not intelligent enough to read the Word of God. Let me interpret the Word of God for you.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
That's where the problem comes in, because you have people who are going to church because they know they have to and are just following the motions. They're not actually embracing their religion. There's a huge ass mega church, right?
Mega churches are horrible.
Yeah,
Don't talk to me about them.
So big old mega church. And these people they're some of the rudest motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. Like, they'll cut you off in traffic trying to get to their goddamn appointment. Leaving the church parking lot, they will literally cut you off and weave through traffic. There is going to church, then there is embracing your religion, and they're not doing that. They're going through the motions. They're getting their little hand stamp. Yep, you did Christian stuff today, and then they go home. Yeah,
it's a weird one. So I don't know if I want to like get. No, you know what? I'm not doing it because I think that's an entire video on and of itself.
Yeah,
I would like to do that video though at some point, but it's just we've already derailed long enough. Let's keep going. What else does Venger have? And the 4 essentials of happiness. What the fuck, Venger? This is a self-help book. Hey, go with this one.
So Venger made chicken soup for the DM soul. That's what he fucking did right now. Venger, we figured you out. You made chicken soup for the DM soul, Venger.
What is this? What is this? Like, we'll go with this one, and then we'll finish up. So we will, right? And we'll do some final
Venger,
words.
what have you done? If it makes sense in life, then it should make sense in a simulated version of life, right? In order to be happy, there are 3 essential elements. The world's conventional wisdom doesn't account for those with slightly greater ambition than the average person. So I'm going to let you in on a secret that precious few realize. Without further ado, the vast majority of people need the following to be truly happy: someone to love, something to do, and something to look forward to. That's 1, 2. That's only 3. Venger, what do you? Oh, there it is. Okay. For those not content with just the basics, there's a 4th. Okay, I was like, Venger, what? Okay, now, sorry. It's something to struggle against. Conflict. Yeah, okay, yeah. So basically, something to fight, something to love, something to do, and look forward to. And that's honestly, that's very bare bones, generic ways to say it, but he is correct. If you have no conflict, you become complacent. If you have no love, you become lonely. Nothing to do, you become bored. If you can, there's nothing to look forward to, you lose hope. So yeah, for sure, that all makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's something. I don't think anyone could argue them points.
Well, I'm sure the fucking idiots on Twitter could probably actually, Sweaty, you don't need conflict.
You don't need hope in your life. Why would
you don't need hope.
You don't need hope. Here, you know what? I heard a really good one. I saw it. It was a video on Facebook the other day, and there was this experiment in like the 1960s in the UK, and what they did was they got a load of mice and they would just throw them in like a swimming pool, or not a swimming pool, it was like a big pool, and they saw how long they would swim for, and the average was about 15 minutes before they died.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
So basically, what we're talking about is like the rats would drown. However, if you saved one rat and put it back in, he would swim and swim and swim because he knew that eventually a hand would come and pull him out.
And how long would he swim for?
As long as he had to.
It was about 2 days. These rats would swim for about 2 days. So yeah, you know what? But like hope is important. Like, you know, Jesus Christ, you need hope. Like, I don't know. Like, look, I think everyone's kind of worried we're on the brink of World War III right about now. I don't know. I've got hope. I don't think it's going to go too sideways. It's going to go sideways, guys. Don't get me wrong. But how sideways is it going to go? I don't think.
Let me describe mine here. I look forward to the war. Fighting is something to do, and I love to fight. Yeah. The conflict will be great.
Oh, sweet Jesus! We'll see how this turns out. It doesn't look good, guys. It doesn't look good. That's all I can say. Right, let's finish up. Let's see the 4 essentials to happiness. Where else?
I like the way this sucks. Anyway, let's see. So, let's see here.
For those not
content. So conflict is universal. Most people, when confronted with conflict, will run away, literally or metaphorically. But a person without enemies or opposition is rather small in the great scheme of things. Those worthy of being noticed by the gods attempt to struggle against whatever obstacles are blocking their path. Like for fat folks, it's stairs.
You know what I'm just thinking about? Do you remember you ever seen that meme of how steam was created and it's like a fat fella?
Yeah, the fucking seed in the ground, yeah.
Steam was created, that's exactly it.
They fight. Like spiritually, those who reject religion subconsciously crave it, seeking it out when they've effectively banished it from their life. Which is why, when the atheist is cut down to the quick, what's he do? He prays for salvation every fucking time.
Yeah.
To forget this human need when we're GMing is to draw people as three-dimensional when they could be so much more. Obviously, some peasant on the side of the road selling carrots doesn't have to have more than a name, noteworthy characteristic and semblance of the motivation or goal, though not all NPCs are throwaway humanoids populating your world. The real movers and shakers will do their thing until they're confronted with resistance that cannot be easily smoothed over or walked around. At that point, the ambitious set about crushing that resistance. They do not take no for an answer. With their actions, they force the gods to regard them, sometimes with pride or mocking ridicule or even awe. The command to look is embedded in the universe's DNA. What is perceived will change based on that perception. This is called the observer effect in quantum physics. But that's the interactivity between the observer and what is being observed that creates change. One of the many things that deeper understanding of reality can tell us about religion. When the gods notice us, their observation manifests an interactivity that alters our normal course of events. Is that why Vikings wanted the gods to see them, to take note of their activities, their conquest and striving and suffering? Yes, that's...
Well, there's a really good one I always love, and it's about Caesar. So the Romans believed whenever someone was lucky, they thought it was like divine, like the gods chose them. For instance, like they believed that, oh, this person's lucky because the gods just favor them. And that's kind of what happened with Caesar. It got to the point where he just kept pulling shit off all the time that people just kind of give up trying to fight him. It's like the guy's just divine. There's nothing we can do. We're literally fighting the gods here. It just doesn't work, guys. It's just pointless.
One of the phrases is the gods smile upon him. That's one of the major like usual phrase you hear for all religion. The gods smile upon him, which means the gods are focusing on that one person.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So it's interesting when you think about it. But again, like, you know, you could argue like some people, I don't know. I've yet to meet someone who achieved something that didn't put themselves in a situation to achieve it, though. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, people say, like, oh, they just got lucky. It's like, well, there was a lot of preparation and they put themselves in certain positions and they did certain things that made them lucky. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, even at the lowest common denominator, let's say the very lowest is buying a lottery ticket and you actually won it. Yeah, but they actually bought the lottery ticket to begin with.
Yeah.
You know? So
they took that first step you didn't take.
Yeah. Does that make sense? I think there might be something to that. So I don't want to go any further because we're only about halfway and we've went over tons of stuff. What do you think so far, Garbo? I think it's a bit flowery, if I be honest with you. It's a bit too flowery for me, but I think he's on the right course. But it is very much
for the Game Master's soul.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's something that I think if you read through it yourself, there'll definitely be something that you will find interesting and maybe work with. But what would your advice be? What's your how to DM like a fucking boss? What's your one? I would argue that for me, lead more, interact with more. You know, a good what's to say it? A good storyteller should know absolutely everything. Try and lead more. Try and explore different worlds, all that sort of stuff. Because you couldn't go wrong. Like,
well, it's one of those things where you need to understand, don't just feel, you need to digest the world around you. You need to consume the world around you and understand, truly understand the feelings that you're feeling, like the sounds you hear, the things you see, how things feel around you. And also understand whether or not you can be a DM. Not everyone can be a DM. You can try. And some guys, they'll think they can do it, and they'll burn out so fast, and they just get
Jenny D. No, we're not saying any more about her. Like, fuck, we'll get another strike.
Fucking Voldemort.
Unironically. No, keep going. Sorry.
But you need to understand that not everyone can be a game master or dungeon master, whatever you want to call yourself. Not everyone can bear the title. Some folks are just some folks. Some folks are just cursed to be a player, and some folks can't even be fucking players. To be honest with you, this thing, this thing isn't for. It's like sure, everyone can write a book, but the book ain't gonna be good unless you know how to truly put things into words. Now, writing a book and being a DM are more or less the exact same thing. Only difference is that you have a number of readers who you're dragging along through that book. You have to know how to create a world and keep it interesting and understand how to say things to your players to make them feel things that characters feel. You're balancing two worlds. On one hand, you have the reality. On the other hand, you have the unreality. You have to make those two hands touch and constantly rub together in a way that's pleasing or unpleasing to the people around you. You cannot simply abandon realism. You can't just abandon how things would actually go. You have to marry the two. And it's why, and so it's why I cannot stand this new bullshit where like your players can just say no to stuff. It made me like, my God, you're just keeping on, Gobert. Yeah, I am, because it's just
but it's something that I think has to be spoken about, though. That's the biggest problem I've got. I remember when we were doing a load of Wizards of the Coast videos a while back, but that's because stuff just kept happening. It just kept happening. It just was a never-ending flow of like fucking. Oh yeah, they sent like little fucking like like Pinkertons to someone's house. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Oh yeah, there's just so many examples. Like it feels like there's less and less people online willing to talk about certain things, and
because they're afraid.
Most people would just be like, well, you know what? I think X cards and all this other stuff is a great thing, and I think we should have it in all games. It's like, oh sweet Jesus, what the fuck are you trying to do? Absolute subversion, to say the least. All I want to say is the front cover, Garblue, I think that looks kind of like an asshole, not gonna lie.
Fecal land.
Or is that my it's your subconscious speaking to you? You see the asshole in the front of the cover. So,
well, one thing is that before I forget my fucking, I had a thought point, but like it'd be like you buy a book, right? But there's a part in the book that you don't like, so you scratch it out with a pen and write in your own shit. That's what you do when you tell a GM, no, I don't like that. You're honestly being a piece of shit. And unfortunately, I mean, you're running ramshod over a story that you didn't write, but for some reason you think you have the credence to overwrite some story they spent time writing on. Mind you, it might still be a shit story, but you don't have the right to just scratch out shit. Nope, don't like that. I'll make my own.
Garblue, does this mean you're not a fan of fan fiction?
Actually, I quite like fanfiction. but the thing is, you don't treat fanfiction as canon, for one. But regardless, it's just, I don't know, like...
what about whenever Markiplier and Jacksepticeye fuck each other? What about that type of fanfiction?
That's going a whole depth down. It's still not canon, though.
You sure? It could be canon, though. I think it could be. I think there's a chance. You sure? I think it might be. Go on. I'm sorry. Okay, you know what? Anyhow, look, I think it's interesting. I think he brings up some valid points. I think it's a bit too whimsical, the way he goes about it at certain points. But the overarching majority of it, I can't really... I have a hard time arguing against, you know? I think for the most part, I think he's on the right tracks with a lot of this sort of stuff. Is this Garblue, would you ever buy a book like this?
Honestly, no, I wouldn't.
I probably wouldn't either.
Now,
to be honest with you,
this is gonna sound like we're beating our own dick off, but this is made for certain people who aren't like Vinger and me and you. It's gonna sound weird and like I'm beating my own chest and falling on my own ball sack, but I'm not trying to. These kind of books are for people who. This is gonna sound like fucking pompous as shit, no matter how I say it. For people who are
Garblue, I'm just like better than you guys. You don't get that.
For people who are a step below Vinger, me, and you, and others like us, this book is great for them.
Good. Like, I don't think I'm that good. If I be honest with you,
well,
I think I have.
No. People who are creating content and creators. I mean, it's gonna sound again cringe as shit. There are creators, there are sub creators, and there are consumers and sub consumers. This book is great for like sub creators who need that extra little oomph in their step, that extra little pep from a creator above them. And I hate how this sounds, but there literally are four kinds of people. There are the pro creators, the creators, and then the pro consumers, and then the regular consumers.
Consume.
There are people who consume like a pro. It's all organized, and they know what they're consuming, and they understand it. They understand everything about what they consume. Below that, people are like, haha, this is a shiny robot. They just buy it. They're consuming, but they don't understand what it is they're consuming. There are those who create. But they can't just like go off like me and you and just fucking pump out 6 books in a fucking year or some shit. And then there are guys like me, you, and Vinger who can just pump out books like it's our like we're fucking breathing.
Yeah.
I realized this a long time ago, mind you. It's why I'm even saying it. But like I realized long ago that there are simply just levels to creators and consumers. There really are. Like there are people who just love to consume but don't want to create. And that's fine. There are people who are like, you know what, I just want to consume shit. I love consuming. I love media and getting in my brain and reading and watching movies. I love this, but they feel no drive to make their own thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
There are people who do both. They love consuming and creating. And then there are people like me who I love creating, but like consuming don't do it for me anymore. I just want to create. I just love creating so much that I put everything I have into creating.
Yeah, I buy too many books, not gonna lie. I buy far too many books. But honestly, I just like, say if I see something, I'm like, okay, I could probably work with that at some stage. I'll just buy it.
Yeah.
Unironically, because it's like, well, you know what, it might come in handy. Like, and there's only been one book that I've bought and I came in and I was like, oh my god, can I please just send this back? This is dog shit. You know,
now, I want to preface this as again, this is not horn tooting. You do evolve as you go. Like there are consumers who become pro consumers. I mean, it's like having a private in the army and a fucking staff sergeant. Like, sure, they're both the exact same thing, but one's got a lot more under their belt than a fucking private does. It's just,
yeah.
But you gotta understand where you are. Like, you can't say I'm a pro creator when you don't have absolute fucking dick under your belt. You know.
But Garblue, I'm a pro gamer, and I say the gamer word every day. What are you talking about? That makes me a pro gamer, doesn't it?
Jesus Christ. I hate it so much.
I couldn't help myself. Honestly, look, I think it's an interesting book. Personally, it's not something that I would ever buy.
It sparks conversation, that's for fucking certain.
It does. It sparks conversation. I think it's worth reading, but I don't know if... how much is it? Let me see. Let me check out the price tag of it, and then we get. The thing is, Thingy has tons of books that are worth. It's $8. I don't know if I'd buy it for $8. Not gonna lie, I'd probably buy it for like $2.
Well, the thing is, me and you don't need this book. There's some people who need this book, and they'll like a fucking $8, a fucking bargain, and they'll fucking just consume this book and help pep themselves up.
Yeah, to some people, I think it would be worth $8. I think it would. It's not.
like, say you have no foundation for what you're doing, this book can literally set you up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the thing is, Avengers got way better books to read than this. I would honestly, instead of buying this, I would just buy one of his Chult books and call it a day. That's what I would do, honestly, because he's just got better stuff. So he does, like, he's just got far better books out there. But again,
you heard him finger your book shit.
Well, it's not that this is shit. It's just he's got better stuff. And, like, if you're going to spend money, buy, like, the good stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to go for it, get something that's better. But again, maybe is it just better? But I would go. But again, that's just me. I'm not really someone who would buy, like, self-help books. It's just not me. I would buy adventures and modules and setting books. And I don't even buy, like, rule books all that often. Because normally I would just adapt Dice and Demons to whatever it is. So, like, I don't really need rule books. I just want to know more about the setting and the world and all that sort of stuff. If I'll be honest with you, the adventure. So that's really the sort of books that I tend to buy. Anyway, Avengers been asking me to do this for a long time, and we finally talked about it. Hopefully he doesn't come back like fucking that other guy that we did.
You fucking pricks! Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that? He got I'm not going to say who it is, but his name starts with a Z, and he's pretty notorious. All right.
So the thing is, though, like those, like you can't. We're not going to fluff your fucking asshole for you. We're getting actual opinion from us.
Yeah. I've sucked off Avengers' other books. You guys already know this. I like his other stuff. That's just ain't for me personally.
Well, still though, you still like him. You're like, this book's not great.
Yeah.
If you want your dick sucked, go to Twitter. Go to all your Broasar or D&D 5e fanboys and like, hey, I want my dick sucked right now. They're like, oh my god, I love sucking your dick. Walk. Like, don't come to Garbro and fucking James with Neckbeardia for your fucking dick suck, because you're gonna find it here.
Yeah. Well, mate, it depends on who you are. I might suck your dick.
GDD, please call me back.
No, I'm trying to think. Okay. Whose dick would you suck then? Who do you think out there that's Clayton and Leighton books at the minute would you suck their dick?
Honestly, fucking no one. Like, no one's actually no. There are a few. There's
a few guys making really good stuff out there, though there is some people that I think are making outstanding stuff, not gonna lie.
There's some out there like on Twitter who I follow who are like manga artists who like I might suck a dick for this. But like no one I'm like, I'm going to suck your entire dick, and like no one that for me right now. Maybe like Simon R. Green back in the day, but even then it's like he hasn't written anything in a long time that I've actually liked.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I would suck Venger's dick over his other books. And Venger, that's not a promise, okay? I'm not actually going to suck your dick, but his other books are good, okay? How does that sound? Look, this video's long enough. I'm going to have to edit down. I'm going to have to cut out so much. Jesus Christ. Look, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let us know what you think. I want to do more stuff like this in the future going forward. Do more like semi-book reviews, because this wasn't really a book review. This is more just like thoughts and opinions on like small segments of the book. And we didn't how many pages is there?
Many.
There is, it's 106 pages, and we read 3?
But still though, if you are a fledgling DM who's like, I want to try and be the DM now, this book could form your entire formation. Okay, you know what? You, instead of going on to YouTube and typing in DM advice and finding, do not use YouTube.
Yeah, don't use YouTube, because you're probably not going to get good. The advice on YouTube is few and far between, and I can even say that from my own experience. I'm not very good. I probably shouldn't be giving out DM advice, because it works for me, but it ain't for you. You know what I mean? We're different people, okay? And what works for Garbu ain't gonna work for me. And it's all about finding your own flow. You know what I mean? Look, I don't know where else to go with this. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let us know what you think down below. If you want more stuff like this in the future,
Garbu's fucking stupid. I hate him.
Right. Anyway. I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.